You've cleared security. You found the gate. There's one seat open, barely, and you drop into it with your coffee and your boarding pass, and you let out that breath you've been holding since the TSA line. 45 minutes until boarding. You're early. You're ready. You wait. And I'm going to tell you, that moment right there, that settling in moment, is where most travelers over 60 quietly lose something they didn't know they had. Now, I know what's going through your head. You've been doing this for 40 years. You have a seat assignment. You have your boarding pass on your phone. What exactly is left to manage? And honestly, that's a fair question. It's the right question. But here's what I want you to hold on to for the next few minutes. 20 feet from where you're sitting, a gate agent is looking at a live picture of your flight. Every seat, every opening, every accommodation that hasn't been claimed yet. And in about 30 minutes, that picture goes away. Not because anything bad happens, just because boarding starts and the window closes, and whatever wasn't handled before the first group was called is now fixed. I'm Jess. I flew for 16 years. Long haul, international, domestic, all of it. And now I'm not bound by any airline's talking points, which means I can just tell you what I actually know. Here's what kept coming back to me in my last few years of flying. There was a pattern I couldn't shake. The passengers who stepped onto the jet bridge already flustered, already stressed, already behind, were almost always the ones who'd been sitting quietly at the gate the entire time. Pre-boarding, they didn't know they could ask for. A medical device that was about to get tagged for cargo. An aisle seat that had opened up an hour before boarding. I'd find out about it at the door, and I'd have to look at them and say, there's nothing I can do now. That window was right there, wide open, and they never knew. That's what today is about. Not tricks, not squeezing the system for something you're not owed. What I'm going to show you is what that gate window actually is, how long it lasts, who controls it, and the exact words you need to use before it closes. Because some of what's available to you isn't a favor, it's a right. And the only thing standing between you and it is knowing it exists. So don't sit down yet, not until you watch this. Let's start with why sitting at the gate makes complete sense. Because it does. You've navigated the security line, you've found the right concourse, you have everything you need in one place. Your bag, your gate number, a seat that lets you see the board. For a lot of travelers, especially if you're managing a connection that's a little close, or you've got more than one bag to keep track of, or your knee just told you it's done walking for the morning, staying put feels like the smart move. Or your knee just told you it's done walking for the morning. Staying put feels like the smart move. You're not wandering. You're not at some coffee shop on the wrong end of the terminal when they change the gate. You're there, ready. And I want to say clearly, that instinct is not wrong. Being at your gate early is exactly right. What I'm talking about is what you do once you get there. Because there is a difference between being at the gate and being in that plastic chair. And that difference is about 20 feet and a conversation that most travelers never have. So here's what's actually happening at that counter while you're sitting. The gate agent assigned to your flight is running a live picture of that airplane. Not a general overview, the actual current state of your specific flight in real time. They can see every seat on the plane. Which ones are occupied, which ones just opened because someone didn't check in, which ones are blocked for crew or operational reasons, and which ones cleared an hour ago. They're looking at accommodation requests, or the absence of them. They're managing a list of things that need to happen before boarding starts, and some of those things are discretionary, meaning they have the authority to act on them right now, in this window, for the passengers in front of them. That last part is the part nobody tells you. If you're finding this useful, I put out a new video every week, travel information that the airlines have and don't volunteer. Subscribe if you want to keep getting it. And now back to what that gate agent can actually do. Most domestic flights begin boarding 30 to 40 minutes before departure. International, earlier. The gate agent is typically at the podium by 45 minutes out. That period between when they arrive and when that first boarding group gets called, that's it. That's the window. It's not long, But in that stretch of time, they can pull up your record, look at the seat map, add a notation, flag a pre-boarding request, note a medical device. They can do things that simply cannot be undone or started fresh once that jet bridge door opens and a line of 160 people starts moving. Once boarding begins, the gate agent is managing bodies in motion. They're scanning passes, handling last-minute issues, answering questions from 6 people at once. They're not unavailable, but their attention is fractured, and their ability to stop and look something up for you is functionally gone. The quiet moment, the one where they can actually work your record, has passed. And here's the thing that I watched play out over and over in airports all over this country for 16 years. The passengers who needed accommodations and didn't get them, almost none of them were refused. Almost none of them had their requests denied. They just never made them. They were sitting in those chairs, assuming the airline knew what they needed, or assuming there was nothing to ask for, or not wanting to feel like they were being difficult. So nothing happened. And then boarding started, and the window closed, and they were in the same middle seat with the same bin situation, and the same uncertainty about whether their CPAP was about to end up in cargo. The gate agent isn't a gatekeeper. That framing is backwards. They're a service agent with real, specific authority over your flight, available to you right now, for a limited time. Think of it less like approaching a counter where you might get rejected, and more like realizing there's an open door in a building you've walked past 100 times without knowing it led somewhere. Now, what's actually behind that door, what you can ask for, what the exact words are, what your rights actually are versus what's discretionary, that's where this gets specific. And I want to be honest with you about the difference, because some of what's available to you isn't a favor that depends on who's working the counter that day. Some of it is federal law. Knowing which is which changes everything about how you walk up there. Let's go through it. Let's start with pre-boarding, because this is the one that matters most and the one that is most misunderstood. Under the Air Carrier Access Act, that's federal law, not airline policy, not a courtesy program. Airlines are required to offer pre-boarding to passengers with disabilities who self-identify. Required, not at the gate agent's discretion, not subject to the mood of whoever is working that day. If you walk up to that counter and tell them you need extra time to board, they are legally obligated to provide it. The catch, and this is the part that costs people, is that the airline cannot offer it to someone they don't know needs it. They're not going to look out at a gate full of passengers and try to guess. You have to say it. That's the whole thing. That's the entire gap between what people get and what they're entitled to. The words are simple. You walk up and you say, "I'd like to request pre-boarding. I have difficulty with mobility and I need extra time to board and get settled." That's it. You don't need a doctor's note. You don't need to describe your condition or explain your medical history to a stranger at a podium. Difficulty with mobility and extra time to board. Those phrases do the work. They trigger the accommodation. If you're not comfortable with the word disabled, you never have to say it. The phrase I just gave you is enough. And don't wait for a general announcement. Some gates make a broad call. Anyone needing extra time or assistance? But it often comes late. Sometimes after priority boarding has already moved through and the front overhead bins are full. Don't rely on it. Identify yourself directly, early, before the process starts. Now, about those overhead bins. This matters more than people realize, and it connects directly to pre-boarding. If you board with a general crowd, Group 3, Group 4, Group 5, the bins above your seat are very likely closed. Your bag goes 6 rows back. At landing, you're going against traffic to retrieve it, squeezing past people coming the other direction, reaching across rows. For anyone managing a mobility concern, that's not just inconvenient. It is genuinely risky. Pre-boarding means your bag goes up first, above your seat, where you can reach it without an obstacle course. That's not a luxury. That's the difference between a manageable arrival and a stressful one. Here's where I want to be honest with you about something, because I think it's important to go in with the right expectations. Seat upgrades. The kind where you end up in business class because you charmed the gate agent. That's mostly a myth now. On most major US carriers, upgrade lists clear automatically, hours before the gate even opens, sometimes at check-in, sometimes at T24 when your status is processed. By the time you're standing at that podium, the upgrade list is almost always already gone. I'm not going to tell you to walk up and try for a first-class seat, because I'd be sending you to ask for something that isn't there. But a seat change within the cabin, from a middle seat to an aisle that genuinely just opened because someone didn't check in, that's real, and that's worth asking for. I have some difficulty getting up during the flight, and I'm currently in a middle seat. Has anything on the aisle opened up? That's the ask. Some gate agents will look and find you something. Some will say the flight is full. That's the honest version of this. Ask early, accept a polite no gracefully, and move on to the things that are guaranteed. Now, the medical device. This one I need you to hear. I was working a full flight out of the Midwest, maybe 8 years into my career. A woman named Eleanor boarded in the middle of the rush. Mid-70s, traveling alone, quiet, the kind of passenger who didn't want to be any trouble. She had a soft-sided bag with her CPAP machine inside. It looked like any other small duffel. She'd been sitting at the gate for over an hour. She hadn't said a word to anyone. And when she got to the jet bridge door, there was a gate agent behind her putting a tag on her bag for cargo because the bins were full and she hadn't been flagged as carrying a protected medical device. I caught it. We sorted it out. At the door, in the aisle, with people boarding around us. Eleanor shaking because she didn't understand what was happening, and nobody had ever told her she needed to say anything. The CPAP made it on. But she was rattled for the first hour of that flight, and she shouldn't have been. She did nothing wrong. She just didn't know. FAA-approved CPAP machines and portable oxygen concentrators cannot legally be denied cabin entry when properly declared. Declared. That word is doing all the work. You have to say it. You walk up to the gate agent before boarding and you say, "I'm traveling with a medical device, a CPAP, and I want to make sure it doesn't get gate checked. Can you add a note to my record?" That last part, "Can you add a note to my record?" makes the request concrete. It gives the agent something specific to do. It takes 20 seconds, and it protects the thing you cannot leave home without. I don't work for an airline anymore, so I can say this plainly. The system isn't set up to find you. It's set up to process you. The accommodations exist. The legal protections exist. The gate agent has the tools. But none of it activates unless you walk up and use the right words with the right person in that window before boarding starts. One last thing. Because I know some of you are reading this and thinking about a flight where you arrived and boarding was already underway. It happens. You got held up at security. The gate was farther than expected. You sat down for 5 minutes and suddenly Group 2 is being called. If you get to the gate and the window is nearly closed, walk up anyway and say, "I need to request a pre-boarding accommodation. Is it too late?" Sometimes there's still a moment. And if boarding is fully moving, you have one more option. The flight attendant standing at the jet bridge door. The moment you step onto that jet bridge, you say, "I have a mobility concern, and I need a moment to get settled before others board behind me." That crew member has flexibility you wouldn't expect. They can hold the flow for 60 seconds. They can help you get to your seat before the crush reaches you. It's not ideal. The gate counter is always better. But it is real, and it is available. The window at the gate is the best version of this, but it is not the only version. You have more standing in this process than you know. Here's what all of this comes down to. The gate is not a waiting room. It never was. It's the last point in your entire travel day where you still have active standing, where the flight is live, the agent has tools, and the window is open. Once that jet bridge door closes, everything is fixed. Your seat is your seat. Your bin situation is your bin situation. Whatever wasn't handled before boarding started is now just your trip. That window is real. It opens every single time you fly, and most travelers never use it because nobody told them it existed. So before your next flight, not someday, before the next one, put this sentence in your phone right now, in your Notes app, somewhere you can find it at the airport. I'd like to request pre-boarding. I have difficulty with mobility, and I need extra time to board and get settled. That's the one. If you travel with a CPAP or any other medical device, add this one underneath it. I'm traveling with a medical device. Can you add a note to my record? 2 sentences. That's your whole toolkit for most flights. Then arrive at your gate 40 to 45 minutes before boarding begins. Not departure, boarding. Walk up to the counter when it's not crowded. Say what you need, briefly and specifically, to the gate agent before the first group gets called. That's it. That's the whole move. You don't need to memorize everything from this video. Pick the one thing that applies most to your next trip and use it once, just once. Because here's what I know from 16 years of watching this play out. Once you do it the first time, once you board early and your bag is above your seat and you're settled before the rush, you'll never go back to sitting in that chair and waiting to be called. You're not asking for special treatment. You're claiming something that was designed for you, that cost the airline nothing, and that is sitting there unused on almost every flight because the passengers who need it most were never told to ask. Comment below and tell me, what's the thing you worry about most at the gate? I read everything, and the questions you leave here shape what I cover next. I'm Jess. Fly safe and fly informed.